What's up, everybody? It's Bad Boy Halo with the Saints Games, and recently there has been a lot of talk about Minecraft and Mojang adding 1.8 or 1.7 combat, either a game rule or some other mechanism, into 1.13. But here's the question: what if they already did? So while I was doing research on the 1.9 combat, I came across a guy who supposedly has found a way to add pre-1.9 combat into the latest snapshot of Minecraft. That's right. Supposedly he has added 1.8 spam hitting and block hitting combat into 1.13, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. So what supposedly makes this possible is in 1.13, they do a lot of changes to the metadata and how various things work, and they actually make it so you can add in certain data on how your sword attacks and things like that into like the texture pack and into the data, like the block data that's stored in a world. So whenever someone logs into your server and they go to a certain world, it will load in this special data and allow you to set certain things about how the client works. So in normal 1.13 combat, as you can see, the sword swings like this. It swings at a slow rate, has a cooldown, the sword drops out of frame, and it looks really bad and gross. But in 1.8 combat, it doesn't do that. You see, it just looks normal, like normal combat. The sword doesn't drop out. You can swing as fast as you like. Now, what's interesting is when you put this block data in and you load in this texture pack, whenever you go and hit, it does the same thing as 1.8. And you can see I can swing as fast as I want. My sword doesn't drop out of frame, and I don't have any cooldown on it. And if I want, I can also go into the settings and disable the attack indicator, so I don't even have to see that if I don't want to. What this guy did with the inclusion of the texture pack and the way that he set up the data, it attacks at the regular no delay rate, and he even made it so when you block or right click your sword, it will actually look like your sword is blocking. Now, this is just a trick with the texture pack. Really, when you block, it's just switching to a shovel that has been retextured to look like a blocked sword. And if you actually try and block hit, you really can't do it that well. It just hits, then switches to the block, and then switches to the hit, then the block. It doesn't have that fluid motion, and you can't really do the same thing. You can either hit and then block, or you can block and then hit while you're blocking. But the way he has it set up is your hits will do less damage because really you're just hitting them with a shovel. And instead of doing reduced damage via like the code or something, what it's doing is it's just giving you damage resistance for a certain amount of time just while you're blocking, and the second you unblock and it goes back to a sword, it disables the damage resistance. So it doesn't actually really feel like block hitting, even though technically you're kind of doing it. Now, how does this really pan out in PvP? Well, because you can't really hit people while you're blocking in pre 1.8, we tried to avoid using that while fighting. But what we did do was do combat where we just swung at each other, and surprisingly, that actually felt a lot like 1.8 combat. I'm sure there were minor variations, but all in all, it was very similar. Now, one thing I did notice was things like W tapping and block hitting did not give that extra knockback that they do in 1.8. And again, the block hitting really didn't feel like traditional block hitting, as you could hit people while staying blocked, and you could even walk around while blocking with your sword, because again, you're not actually blocking your sword, it's just a retextured shovel. But I have to say, it was really bizarre and really kind of refreshing to actually go and fight in a later version of Minecraft in a style that felt and looked almost exactly like 1.8 combat, but with all of the new 1.13 stuff added. So, in conclusion, does this solve the problem of 1.9 combat and allow you to basically have 1.8 combat in a later version of Minecraft? No, it doesn't. You really don't have block hitting. It's not accurate, at least in this format. It doesn't feel like block hitting. You don't have W tapping. It is honestly, in my opinion, not close enough to the point where I would be willing to give up, say, 1.8 or 1.7 combat in favor of this in exchange for the later features available in 1.13. However, is this combat better than the trash combat available in 1.9 and on? Yes. Miles better. It feels a lot better. It feels way more like classic 1.8, 1.7 combat, and it doesn't suck nearly as hard. So where does that leave us? Depending on what Mojang continues to add in 1.13, and depending on how far people can take this block data, it is possible that I think someone could use this as inspiration to make an even closer 1.8 style combat that would feel even more like 1.8 or 1.7. Though to be honest, with what I've seen so far, I do not think someone's going to be able to get spot on, though I do think they'll be able to get within the ballpark, depending on how much you're able to tweak in the block data. Do I still want Mojang to add a 1.8 game rule? Yes, I do. But I will say that this is definitely better than nothing in the event that servers are forced to update. Like if plugins like Via version stop working and they stop allowing newer players to connect to older 1.8 or 1.7 servers, and certain major servers have to update to the latest version in order to keep their player bases. However, in my opinion, even this is far from perfect. But let me know what you guys think. Would you be satisfied with this over the 1.9 combat? Or are you in the camp of, I will not accept anything less than an old combat game rule before I'm willing to switch to a later version? Go ahead and answer the poll and give me your thoughts in the comments. Anyway guys, if you want, come check out my server at munchiemc.com. We have kit PvP if you like 1.8 style combat. However, you can connect on any Minecraft version if you want to. And remember to be sure to give the video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.